The Chaser Report is recorded on Gadigal land.
Striving for mediocrity in a world of excellence. This is the Chaser Report.
Hello and welcome to the Chaser Report for Tuesday the 27th of September. We're on Gadigal land today and we are here with Charles Firth, that's me, and Craig Reucassel.
Yeah, good to be here.
Craig.
Yes.
You know how you usually come in and as your quote-unquote segment, you do a Craig's Flawless Solution.
Yes, I do recall that. Yes.
Which it requires about 3 seconds of preparation.
That is a lie. It's amazing how hard they are to come up with.
Yeah. Well, you're in for a bit of a treat today because I am bringing to the table Charles's Flawless Solution.
Wow,
Yeah.
this is a great. I look forward to seeing how this is structured.
Well, the good thing about
this is it's an entirely new idea.
It's a fresh idea.
A fresh take on things. Yeah.
You might have heard over the weekend there was a bit of a sort of Optus little breach and security thing.
Yes, and I must admit, because I used to be an Optus customer, I'm a little bit concerned about whether or not that applies to older customers.
No. So apparently, as long as you're not a current customer, apparently you're pretty safe. So there's lots of people who had recently stopped using Optus but were still formerly customers.
Yep.
And they've got all their stuff stolen.
Yes.
But if you actually don't pay Optus money anymore, then you probably fairly.
It's good. That's good news. I don't think I pay Optus money. I feel very safe actually because I'm with the far safer person, Kogan.
The Russian guy, that's good. I suppose he doesn't need to hack your data because he's already got. You just gave it to him willingly.
Pre-hacked. It's pre-hacked.
But no, so it's interesting that you would ask the question of can former customers, because that is my flawless solution to the Optus thing, which is to not be a customer of Optus.
Oh, that's very good.
Right?
Yes.
Yes,
it feels like a Charles's hindsight solutions.
Okay, so look, there is a slight flaw in that particular plan. So so the thing that the hackers are wanting is they want $1 million, right? Which is not a huge sum of money.
Huge amount of money for
yeah.
If you go to that trouble, although I've seen some discussions online about how easy it was to get. So you kind of go, I reckon they're just feeling guilty about how easy it was to get the data.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't charge more than $1 million for this.
Because
really, it was a couple of hours.
It was a couple of hours. It's like $500,000 an hour. That's a good payday.
It's like if you go, we just robbed the biggest bank, and you go, wow, that's just amazing. You go, well, yes and no. I mean, they just left the back door open to the safe, so we just walked in and got it.
So the thing is, they want $1 million. Optus apparently is unwilling to pay this $1 million, right? Now, remembering that this is effective,
you can't give in to terrorists.
Yeah, you can't give in exactly. Like there is a completely legitimate reason why it would just be incentivizing people to go around the Optus website and find all the other security flaws that are clearly there. But there are ways in which
Optus.security.flaw.au.
That's right. Well, it was called the actual. I've got here the details because I read some on Hacker News how it all happened, right?
Yeah, you used to be a bit of a hacker.
Yeah, I was a bit of a hacker, and the URL that they used to find it was API. Nobody write this down because they might not have closed it up yet. But it was API, which is the application programming interface. That's the thing.
Yes, I definitely knew that. I am also a young computer nerd.
API.optus.com.au.
Yes.
And it was just completely open and no password needed. You could just download 9.8 million customer records. Anyway, so and then the other great detail that is that after a while, the Optus people, like the people inside Optus, started getting notified that API was getting a lot of hits to it, but they didn't. It seems like they didn't shut it down.
They're just like, that's great. Our hits are up this week.
It's really popular. Yeah, that's right. We're going to beat the Sydney Morning Herald in terms of site popularity. Anyway, I've got the email from the hackers who've sent on the dark web. You can sort of sell your
Yep.
details. So what you do when you steal lots of customer data
Yeah.
is you then provide little samples of the data so that people can verify whether it is actually real stolen data or it's just a fraud thing. And it would seem over the weekend, so a lot of people went out and tried to verify these things. One of the security journalists down in Melbourne, actually, his neighbour was in the 100-person sample.
Oh, wow.
And so he just went over to the guy's house and said, "Is this your driver's license number? Is this your address? Is this your date of birth?" And the guy went, "Yeah, how do you know that? Optus leak."
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
So-
So you can really creep out your neighbours with this information. Now, hang on a second, Charles, I just thought of something here.
Yeah.
I know that you're meant to be coming with the full solution here, and you seem to not be doing that very
No,
much.
okay,
you
sorry.
seem to be describing what's happened in the problem, which is something I would never do in my segments.
No, that is true.
But I think we may have found a way that we can do this, though, because
Yes.
you said that the approach is to not become an Optus member, right? What about if we just got 50 people, 50 of us who we knew all the details, like we just all got together and signed up to Optus?
Yes.
Then we could send them a dark web thing saying, "We've got all your data. Look at this. Here are 50 names." And we just give them our own data.
Yes.
We don't have to steal it. We don't have to
That's
be
great.
technical.
And
Because
then
presumably they will. I mean, it's probably just easier to steal it from them. But
That's right. Sounds like a lot of effort. I want to just do something in 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Probably it's easier to get 9.8 million data points than to sign up to Optus.
The Chaser Report. News you can't trust.
So here is my actual solution, my actual flawless solution, which is, I think, seeing as Optus is unwilling and unlikely to pay the $1 million, but 9.8 million people are going to have their intimate details that allows people to open
They've
their
got
bank
the intimate
accounts.
details. I forgot that when I used to be an Optus customer that I would have to put in my sexual preferences when I signed up to Optus.
Well, you know what I mean. Like
What is the worst detail? It actually has like license numbers.
It's got license numbers.
That's bad to give
So
away.
it's got 100 points of ID. They were storing all the 100 points of ID
Oh, good.
details.
So your passport details too.
So you can go to passport details. You can go to any bank and open up an account. So this will be 15% of Australians will now have all the enough details that anyone can go and open up an account in their name.
That's
if they want
extraordinary.
to.
So that's
Right.
bad. Is there somewhere you can check whether your details are part of this?
Yeah,
Like, can you check?
There's a website called Have I Been Pwned? Now, that data
Is this put up by Optus?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, and because their slogan is yes.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
And pwning is when you
Yeah.
But the thing is that because that Optus data set still hasn't been sold by the hackers, it's not part of that website yet. So you
You can only find out afterwards.
you can only find out, like, if Optus doesn't pay in the next few days, that will then become something where they start selling it off, and very quickly that data will end up on Have I Been Pwned?
Oh, that's useful. That's very useful.
But-
and then Optus can get it back.
And then Optus can get it back. The one thing that you should have received by now, if you are an Optus customer and you have been part of the breach, you should have received an email asking them for some more details so they can investigate.
Yeah. You should have received an email asking for
Yeah, that's
$1 so that they can pay this giant ransom.
Well, that's my solution, which is everyone should chip in. Everyone who's affected should chip in I worked it out as 98 cents.
About 10 cents. Is it
No,
a
10
million
cents.
dollars?
To 9.8 cents, I think.
Yep.
It's about 10.2 cents. So it rounded up to 11 cents. And then we can... But the point is, Optus isn't going to collect
But hang
10
on a second,
cents on
so you're
behalf of
saying
every
what
customer.
we have to do? Well, what you're saying
No.
is we have to get 11 cents of everybody
Yes.
to get to actually stop this data being spread.
Yes.
To do that, though, we have to pay $1 million to these people to get the data of all the people we've got to
contact
contact
the people.
to get the 11 cents.
No, because people know whether they're an Optus customer, Craig. This is
So
the
you're
thing.
just asking me to walk around and
No.
ask if I can look at everyone's phone.
So the thing is, I think that the Chaser, being the good citizens, should organise this fundraising campaign.
Okay.
So we set up a GoFundMe. Mm-hmm. We say we're going to raise $1 million for. If you're an Optus customer, give us 10 cents.
Yep.
And we we promise we'll buy that data from the hackers and shut the whole thing
and
down.
do nothing else with it. At
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good. I mean,
Do you like
I like that. I think it's
Yeah.
very flawless solution, and it's interesting because for a second there I thought I sensed a flaw, but then you said Chaser as a good corporate citizen, and I was like, oh no, yeah, that's true. We're definitely very trustworthy, and everyone would trust us to do that, and also really organised and would definitely follow through with it. So I can't see any. You're much better at this than I was, Charles.
Yeah, I think I've got the solution. So, look, if you are a Optus customer, then I don't know. Send it. Well, you can send it to our PayPal. That's probably the easiest. Send it to our PayPal.
I mean, you should probably round it up for the admin involved.
Yeah, let's make it $1.
Yes.
Well, because transaction
what did you say
fees.
Did you say it was 9.8 million people's data has been
Yeah.
taken?
Yeah.
Surely 9.8 million people in
More
Australia.
but so that's the total number of people. But not everyone had all their 100 points of ID leaked. Some people were just like their date of birth and their maiden name.
Have 9.8 have nearly half of the Australian population at some point have made the mistake of using Optus.
I know this is the thing, and the thing is that whenever you try and ring, your family and friends to tell them that you've been part of this Optus league, you can't get any reception. You go, sorry, I can't hear you. What are you saying?
I'm literally looking at my phone now to try to figure out if I'm on the Optus network.
No, but your data's protected by Kogan, even if you are on Optus.
That's right. My data's in Russia.
You know that I'm lucky. I live in Glebe, which is in the inner city of Sydney, right? And Optus doesn't even have any reception in my house at all. Like I there was no possibility that I would ever be an Optus customer because that distant outback region of Glebe in Sydney
So you're
is just too far out for Optus.
And therefore you are hack proof.
I'm hack-proof.
Who are you with? Because you with which network are you with?
It's called Vodafone.
I'm just going to check api.vodafone.com.au. So Charles Henry Bergman. Here it is.
You've got all my intimate details.
Yeah, I do. God, that's your favourite sexual position. That's strange. Again, why do they ask these questions?
Yeah. Isn't everyone's missionary? Now, Craig, can you join us again tomorrow? This was very fun.
Yeah, definitely. Because I have a question to ask you. I'll ask you tomorrow. It's about your face.
What?
I'll ask you tomorrow.
Okay. Our gear is from Rode, and we're part of the Acast Creator Network. And I might just say we're going to do, because I think this episode went so well, Craig's obviously going to ask me about my face, but also the other thing, we're going to have another Charles's Flawless Solution.
Oh, great.
That's my promise.
Unless we end up in court before that.